G2 Esports are back, looking like they're at the top of their game. For a roster of their caliber, they've had a rough year, crashing out early in every tournament and failing to qualify for the Six Invitational, the biggest tournament in Siege. Historically, this team has been a top contender, winning world championships and consistently finding themselves among the favorites. But as of late, that's not been the case. G2 have been seriously struggling, not only achieving poor results, but looking downright bad at points. Almost everyone had written them off. But when it came time for the Six Invitational Last Chance qualifiers, they pulled off what no one could have expected. A dominant qualifying run, which sent them on their way to the Invitational in Boston. And the craziest part is it wasn't a fluke. The team seems revitalized, and they're playing incredible. G2 are pioneering a synergistic, explosive, fast-paced style of play that's leaving their opponents floundering, not knowing how to respond. It's truly something special, and in this video, we'll break down their style and identify what it is G2 is doing to achieve such success. Are they just better, or have they found a way to play the game which may put them on a path to win once more? As many of you will have seen, my channel was stolen by hackers last week. I'm very lucky to have gotten it back and super thankful for you guys' support throughout the process. If you do appreciate what I'm doing on this channel, please consider subscribing. I love that this is what I get to do, and I truly appreciate your support. Enjoy the rest of the video. G2 are playing Asparagus in the Six Invitational LCQs. The teams choose to play Skyscraper, an extremely defensive-sided map. But G2 are about to put on an attacking masterclass, putting their newfound excellence on display. After a slow start in the first two rounds, G2 are attacking Kitchen, one of the first floor sites on Skyscraper. They're facing a trap-heavy lineup with C4s to boot, and the Azami to make power positions even more powerful. Skyscraper is a map which is notoriously difficult to get inside, so a lot of the round focuses on which entry the attack decides to take. With G2 attacking onto the bottom floor, you might expect that's where they'd entry as well. But here, that isn't the best strategy. Because Asparagus have a presence upstairs, they're able to control the entire bomb site through holes in the floor. So G2 need to make the move before trying anything else. They set up with two outside Geisha, two pinching off Office, and Doki top black. Their positions aren't crazy, but it's crazy effective. Uno and Blaz act to distract, while Loira and Alamau backstab. This is all enabled by Doki, whose position outside black serves two purposes: preventing Asparagus from escaping and making it impossible for more help to come up. Once their players are in position, all G2 needs to do is hit a lion scan and toss in their flashbangs before overwhelming the defense.
Very important when you're on top floor is also just defending that barbecue site as well. More E1Ds come through, more flashbangs, more pressure, and Alamau will at least break something. It's going to be a big collapse here for G2. They just wipe the floor with Asparagus and leave Hungry with it all to do in a 1 versus 5.
Looking a lot better for G2 right now. Hungry potentially just looking to deny the floor, but G2, of course, they're trying to hunt him down. Don't want to allow any opportunity for him to deny.
A dominant round out of G2, but they're still down on the scoreboard. And now, they have to attack onto the strongest site on Skyscraper, Karaoke and T. This site is nothing but choke points and power positions galore, with very little the attack can do to break them up. As long as the defenders don't throw away their lives, attackers going for a cross take face the two doorways, Drum and T. These are powerful choke points which are difficult to push through, and site directs aren't any better. Taking Geisha sees a crossfire between Drum and these boxes, and top black is easily denied by feet holes in the wall Karaoke. So with everything seemingly impossible, what is G2 to do? Well, for starters, like last round, they begin by applying pressure towards Geisha, opening up the outside wall, and just generally drawing defenders' attention towards that side. This opens an opportunity for Loira to push in terrace, where he finds himself a pick, but that's not all that happens. Elsewhere, Alamau jumps in the shrine window. He hits a goo mine and is easily taken out. But this isn't just him throwing his life away. The reason Alamau goes for this kind of play is as a form of insurance. Both he and Loira make simultaneous individual plays off the back of the distraction from their teammates. Because Asparagus are a good team, they're bound to have at least one player guarding against the exact kind of play G2 are trying to make. By having multiple players taking aggressive solo space, they maximize the chances of one of them finding a gap, which the rest of the team can then play around. Now, G2 have taken control of Terrace and Drum and are already pinching the player's Geisha. This throws the defense into chaos as the players try to react to what just happened. And in this chaos, we see exactly why G2 are so strong. They immediately react to the gap Loira creates, with Uno hopping Terrace to follow him up, Blaz continuing to apply pressure from the Geisha window, and Doki jumping in Shrine to create another pinch towards site. And the pieces fall into place perfectly.
The bees, should I say, are actually out on Hackbill. Make it a bit uncomfortable for him.
Getting a bit scrappy now. Reloading! Uno taken out back full. Boy will fall to the hands of Hungry. The spray there. Jay actually falls. Doki with pistol whip to the face. Uno as well to follow things up. Hungry now left on 1 versus 3. Tiniest bit of HP. Can he try and demise this part? I don't think he's going to have the angle really, Sham. There we go. It's a post TP for him to try and clutch out. This looks very, very good for G2 right now. They just need to hold on to these angles and wait for the approach.
As the push comes through, Jay feels the need to rush back to site, but fails to account for the Shrine window. Doki picks him up, giving his team a further advantage, while Uno, Loira, and Blaz pinch through Geisha and Drum into T. They find themselves with the advantage and all of sight, letting them simply stick the plan to secure the round. G2's excellence centers less around utility usage than a lot of teams, instead focusing on positioning and team play. This round is no exception, as they attack onto Office, another incredibly strong site. Noting G2's aggression, the defense brings along a lineup where almost every operator serves to slow down attackers in one way or another. Gumines, Goyos, Malusis, and Barbed, Asparagus know they need to give themselves a chance to react. The question now is how G2 will adapt their attack. They start things off again taking Geisha, but with site being on the opposite side, taking the space is a lot less of a fight. Alamau opens this long angle, which allows him to hold through Terrace into sight, which is nice, but isn't actually the reason he's here. It helps keep Asparagus from rotating around site, but Asparagus are smart, and they're unlikely to expose themselves to Alamau's angle. So what does his being here achieve? Well, it may be early, but G2 are already ready for their execute, and Alamau's position serves to enable their entry. See, Doki is going to jump in the Terrace window, and he wants to make sure he can't be shot in the back by defenders walking bridge. This allows him to focus his attention towards Minibar and Office, with Alamau in place to cover his flank. But that's just one half of the execute. The rest of G2 are over Office, with Blaz on the Samurai window and Uno and Loira outside the already open Office breach. By being on the window, Blaz can ensure nobody is playing inside Samurai, allowing Uno to fight Lounge and Loira to focus Exhibition, all while Doki hits a pinch from Terrace. They count it down and go, not wanting to waste any time taking it slow.
Very lovely work there. The thermic charge going on the ground. Just make sure they can open that drum wall up. It was electrified, so that'll get around it. See how that actually open up. Hungry will find the first kill of this round, and Loira will just hop in and find that double again. I absolutely love that he just keeps doing it. Just keeps hopping in somewhere, finding a gap and getting himself a double. Blaz will find another. It's a 1 versus 4 for Rexon. The defuse is going down. It is there. Can Yurlisan, Al Gaib come up with the goods with 30 seconds to work with? They won't be able to do anything. Doki on the Blackbeard will finish the round, and G2 take the lead for the first time in this series.
Uno and Loira trade 2 for 1 on their entry, giving G2 the advantage and thrusting the defense into chaos. Asparagus are calling out, "They're rushing site! We need help now!" And the roaming defenders start rapidly making their way back to assist. But G2 are holding cuts, and in their haste, the defenders don't take the time to check. Blaz covers Plant going down from a passive angle just inside the Samurai window, and Alamau picks up Jay trying to rotate back bridge. Case goes down in the 4v1, and the clutch is just impossible for Rexon. For their final attacking round, G2 are back facing T. The setup out of Asparagus isn't substantially different to last round, but they do bring along the traps once again to try and slow G2 down. G2, for their part, decide to try a more methodical take. They've conditioned Asparagus to expect a rush, so now they want to slow things down and let Asparagus aggress into them. They start things off by taking down below, sending Blaz and Loira to begin contesting space. While the rest of his team is getting into position, Loira hears Dea lower black, but instead of simply taking the fight, he calls his teammate over to assist. Blaz starts shooting through the wall, distracting Dea so that Loira can push him, giving him a much better chance in the fight.
It also allows you to get those house cams if you want them, and think about how much information that can gain you from the get-go without you even getting in the building and having to be potentially in some firing lines. Speaking of which, Loira getting stuck in now, Dea's gonna fall.
Yep, they're just lulled in a false sense of security for a sec. There's not much happening, and Loira pounces at the back. Doki will be meleeed, or will melee G right in the face.
This is some excellent team play out of G2, turning a 50-50 gunfight heavily to their advantage, and is perfectly indicative of the improvements G2 have made. Loira pushes up black, filling the space created after picking up the kill. Asparagus have nobody in position to trade, so they start looking for a refrag elsewhere. Jay IDs that Doki is a lone black balcony, so he decides to take his chances at a fight. Doki easily picks him up, and the round stabilizes in a 5v3. Now, G2 have created an advantage, so all that's left is to execute. Uno applies pressure Geisha Breach, while Blaz tracks Packbull from down below, opening an opportunity for Doki and Loira to push top black. With such an advantage, G2 decide to collapse, taking control of site and forcing Asparagus to retake.
Packbull feeling the pressure inside of Geisha, trying to dance around, move away, trying not to fall, trying to hold on to Geisha as long as they can. Hungry finds one elsewhere, it's Blaz, but Loira from behind will find Packbull, and they finally have control of Geisha that they were looking for. Quite a lot of shots peppered in towards Loira, holding in position and way up. Pokeball comes right into the face, and now it's Rexen in a 1 versus 3. Will find 1 and 2 right immediately, but Alimal's there to clean up shop for G2.
G2 swap to the defense and opt to start off defending office. They bring along a typical lineup, with Mute to help keep wall closed and Azami to create power positions. Furthermore, they have the Legion and Valk for info on attacker pushes and the Warden to guard against site rushes. They start off across the entire top floor, and as Asparagus start to apply pressure towards Karaoke, G2 stand ready to meet them. Asparagus realize this and make the call to rotate over to a direct take, but G2, not to be fooled, read that the rotate is happening. Asparagus are racing against time in order to get to site before the roaming G2 players can return, but they've got a long way to go. G2 realize almost instantly what's happening, rotating back and holding every entry, just waiting for Asparagus to push in.
Inside of Geisha, not quite been able to get a foothold in the map yet. Asparagus kind of rethinking the strategy. Do they want to play in it? Do they want to be a bit more direct? Looks as though they're not really going to play into what G2 have in front of them. Instead, they're going to pull back, go for the site here. Loira opens up the scoreboard with their opening pick onto Daya. Doki finds another. That's 2 very quick kills to fall from Asparagus' side. For now, though, G2 is still thinking about swinging it out of places. It's Loira again at the double. We've mentioned it so many times this weekend. I feel like I'm going insane by repeating it. Loira with a 1 tap.
G2 won their last round by reacting to what the attack was doing. This sort of active defense is incredibly important in Siege, identifying what the opponents are doing and rotating your resources over to engage with it. G2 are excellent at doing this, and it's often a large part of their success. This round, they're back defending office, and Asparagus opt for an entirely different take. Instead of attempting an opposite over, Asparagus entry down below, working vert with the Deimos and applying pressure directly to site. G2 again recognize this, and instead of contesting the opposite side of the map, they simply play site and the choke point surrounding it, opting to engage Asparagus as they attempt their entry. They leave Uno and Loira to guard against any lurks, while the rest of the defense sit their power positions and wait, standing ready for the attack to engage.
Yep. Deathmarks come up as well, and the revolver rings right through this floorboard to try and find something. Blaz, though, will find the opening pick. It'll be Daya to fall, as Alimal lingers on the house staircase, waiting for someone to push up. The nade was thrown at them, but nothing off the back of it. Uno managed to get back towards site and get kill onto Rexon. Hopping into sight here. Packbill though tries to take the game by the scruff of the neck, but it won't happen whatsoever. It's a flawless for G2.
For the final round in regulation, G2 are defending Barbecue and Kitchen. They play a defense which centers around wall denial, using the Bandit, Cade, and Tubarão to make it extremely difficult for Asparagus to open walls. See, Asparagus want to open this wall into Geisha in order to prevent G2 from playing the Geisha hatch. This is because they want to go for a kitchen side attack, and this hatch dominates the site. If they aren't able to force G2 off, it's very unlikely they'll be able to push inside. The problem is, Asparagus have only brought along 2 EMPs, and if they aren't able to remove G2's wall denial, it could prove to be very problematic.
What you want, well, it's a bit of an extension of the garage for the out to the Dragon side. I don't know where garage is coming from. I'm already on Cafe. Hungry for the EMP, just trying to open up Geisha and make some work of this.
A blunder out of Asparagus as they waste their EMPs, failing to remove the gadgets, allowing wall to stay closed. Now, without being able to force G2 off the hatch, Asparagus need to completely take top in order to ensure G2 can't deny their attack from upstairs. They set up Top Black, Shrine, and Karaoke Window, playing off each other in an attempt to gain map control. The thing is, they've missed something, and Blaz, in an aggressive position, is tucked next to an entry Asparagus surely won't expect.
Jay, we're already getting into the building now. They are attempting to go for it, just putting the feelers out. G2 not biting either. A lot of patience yet again from G2. Doki dealing with Jay. Batty little angle there. Blaz gets it, deals with Daya. The trades, they're being attempted to spray and pray through the wall, but it's not quite capitalizing, it's not quite coming to fruition.
Uno's also failed. Curse of Rexon. Packbill's found himself a double inside of this round as well. 2 on side for Asparagus. Packbill and Hungry have to link together.
The fights come through and things settle with G2 in a 3v2. Now, Asparagus need to try and isolate the remaining defenders, finding themselves a situation where they can pick someone off without their teammates coming to help. They use their drones to ID that Doki is playing delivery, so Packbill comes up with a plan. He uses his smokes and candelas to cut Doki off before him and Hungry drop the hatch, fighting the site without having to worry about their back. It's a good plan, the best they could probably come up with, given their situation. But in the disadvantage, you have to expect that there just isn't much they can do.
Do at least for now know where Loira is. Been quite quiet in the second half. Still checking the vertical, using the candelas just to flash them out. Smoke them down to cover those feet angles as well. They know there's a player inside of Pantry, but they don't know how close Alamo is. It's actually a triple kill for Packbill, who'll bury Alamo. Doki and Loira now to try and link up and finish off the round. As Loira with the C4 makes a very comfortable finish there for G2.